Here's one of my favorite mammals. I love his stately long neck and envy his ability to reach high into trees to eat leaves and to see into the distance. I'll bet that if I were as tall as a giraffe, I could spot my enemies more quickly. Does anyone know what this other animal is? It's a yak. Yaks need their shaggy fur and dense woolly undercoats to help them to help keep them warm on the cold Tibetan plateau where they live. Tigers and leopards have fur. Look at this Bengal tiger and this beautiful snow leopard of Central Asia. Both of these cat species are on the list of endangered species, a list of animals whose numbers have dwindled due to the loss of habitat and overhunting. Okay, boys and girls, let's take a little text structure break. You just heard Rattenborough say both of these cat species are on the list of endangered species. Now let's really focus in on this word here, both. When we look at our compare and contrast sheet, both is right here. So that means that Rattenborough is saying how they're the same. He's comparing and telling how both of those animals are on a list that shows that they're endangered. Okay, on with the show. Does anyone know what this is? It's a marmot, a type of squirrel. And here's another type of squirrel, a flying squirrel. These squirrels don't really fly, but they have two folds of skin on the sides of their bodies that let them take great leaps gliding through the air with the help of their tails for steering. The only mammals that can truly fly are bats. They have skin between their long fingers that stretches out, turning their arms into wings when they open. Bats may seem like birds. However, they're not, because they have no feathers. They actually have a fine fur, and they give birth to live young. All right, boys and girls, let's take a little text structure break again. You just heard Rattenborough say, bats may seem like birds, however, they are not because they have no feathers. Well, here's a key word here that tells us what the structure is that he's trying to give us. Bats may seem like birds, however, they are not. The word however is a contrast word. That means that Rattenborough is trying to explain how two things are different. He's trying to explain how bats are very different from birds. Because birds have feathers, but bats have no feathers. All right, on with the show. But most, but not all mammals are terrestrial, meaning that they live on land. Can anyone think of an aquatic mammal? A mammal that lives in the water? I'll give you a hint. One of them is my friend Hilda. Ah, yes. Hippopotami love the water, but they're actually semi-aquatic, meaning that they live partly in water and partly on land. Usually Hilda and other hippopotami stand in the water during the day to keep cool. Then they graze on land when evening falls. Whales are marine mammals, meaning that they live in the ocean. The blue whale is not only the largest mammal, but it is also the largest animal on Earth. Blue whales can grow up to 100 feet long. That's a little longer than a basketball court. Its tongue alone weighs more than 3 tons. Imagine that! Manatees and smaller whales, such as dolphins and porpoises, are also fully aquatic marine mammals. They share saltwater seas with walruses and seals, semi-aquatic animals that like to wander on shore just like Hilda Hippo does. Marine mammals are believed by many scientists to have evolved from land mammals, and they share many of the same characteristics. They are warm-blooded, they have backbones and fur or hair, even though sometimes it's the tiniest amount of hair, and they breathe oxygen from the air. Remember when we talked about how fish use gills to breathe in oxygen from the water? Remember how in amphibians these gills develop into lungs, requiring amphibians to come to the surface of the water to breathe air? Well, mammals also have lungs. All mammals have lungs and an underlying diaphragm that assists breathing. When the diaphragm tightens, it creates more space in the lung cavity, and air is drawn into the lungs. All mammals, including whales and porpoises, dolphins and manatees, must come to the surface of the water now and then to breathe. Some mammals also live in fresh water. I want to introduce you to another semi-aquatic relative of mine. This is a capybara. He, like me, is classified as a rodent and likes to swim. All right, time for a text structure break. You heard me just read, he, like me, is classified as a rodent and likes to swim. I want you to think if you can find the key word here that Rattenborough is using. Now that you've found the key word, can you tell whether Rattenborough is comparing or contrasting? Let me ask it a different way. Can you tell whether Rattenborough is telling how the capybara and he are the same, or is he telling how the capybara and he are different? Okay, back to the show. The duck-billed platypus is unusual. It is one of only a few mammals that lay eggs. Spiny anteaters, also native to Australia and nearby islands, are the only other egg-laying mammals. All other mammals are live-bearing, which means they give birth to live young. The young are nourished inside the mother's body, and most are fully developed when they're born, looking like smaller versions of their parents. And a few, like kangaroos and possums, are part of a group of mammals called marsupials. Marsupial babies are very underdeveloped when they're born, but they move directly into the mother's protective pouch to be nourished by her milk. All mammals, whether hatched from eggs or born live, feed on the mother's milk in their infancy. Remember learning that birds' beaks may provide clues to their diet? The same is true for a mammal's mouth. Wide mouths and sharp-pointed teeth suggest that these mammals may be carnivores. Wolves, whales, and bats are all carnivores. Herbivores are more likely to have long jaws, long tongues, and flat teeth. Deer, sheep, monkeys, and pandas are all herbivores. Omnivorous mammals include bears, possums, chipmunks, and mice. Many humans are omnivores, but humans think about the choices they make about what they eat. Omnivores generally have sharper front teeth and flat teeth for chewing in the back of their mouths. Think about your mouth. Do you think humans were designed to eat meat, only plants, or both meat and plants? Why? Next time, we'll look at the last of my slides. Be ready for a review of the 5 vertebrate groups of the animal kingdom: amphibians, mammals, birds, fish, and reptiles. I'm sure you're becoming quite skilled at classifying animals, and we'll get to have some fun with doing just that. Can't wait to see you. Bye.